to be educated, but I'm so frustrated. Hello.
Good morning and welcome to a bit of an update as to where I'm sitting with the CF Moto in terms of service and support. For those of you that have been following along, you'll know that I had a faulty fuel sender replaced back in April, I think it was, or March, and then I rode this bike across to Perth, so which is a 4,500 kilometre trip, and it failed on me a couple of times on the way over there, but mostly it was okay. And then there was a gradual decline, and ultimately it just stopped working again. And now it's kind of working intermittently. Frustratingly, it's seemingly neither here nor there, but it's definitely not consistently working. And you'll know that I was speculating that there was some damage done. Looks like there was some damage done to these fairings here when the fuel tank was taken out to replace the fuel sender, and I had no joy with the dealership in Pakenham, who subsequently closed down around getting that resolved. So essentially what it looked like is they over-torqued some bolts that hold the plastic down to the frame, and in doing so snapped the plastics in 3 spots, and it just looks like that's it. Anyway, I've been on to CF Moto and spoke to a really nice guy, Andrew, I think his name was. Turns out he went to the same high school as me, just a few years older than me, and I found that everything on the CF Moto end is really quite well organised. It's really with the dealership network that things let them down, except for one issue which I'll get to. But anyway, Andrew was great. He goes, I hear what you're saying. He goes, I'd be frustrated too. That dealership that broke your bike, as minor as it was, it's still frustrating that they broke it and didn't fess up to it and fix it when they had the chance. He goes, I can see how that's frustrating. He goes, I'll put you onto one of our best dealers and see if we can get it sorted out for you. So he put me on to A1 Motorcycles in Richmond, and that's where I've just picked this bike up from. So it's a Saturday, and anyway, so I thought, well, while I've got it in at Richmond, not Richmond, Ringwood, sorry, I needed new tyres, so I'll get that done. I'll get it serviced, and that way everything's good to go with the bike while they're working on the fuel sender and trying to find a solution to these plastics not being fixed. Anyway, I don't know why I feel the need. I should have just got the service and the tyres done at a local motorcycle shop, because it was a bit of a pain. It took us about 2.5 hours to get down to Ringwood this morning, and as you can see, I'm still travelling back. I'm probably going to be late for my son's soccer tournament today, which sucks. But anyway, they've done it. They seem to have done a really good job. They popped hide now tyres on, so I thought I'm pretty keen to give them a try, and they feel pretty good so far. They're pretty slippery. It was raining when I left the dealers. It was pretty slippery on all the white painted surfaces around Ringwood. But now that I've been on the highway for a little bit, they're starting to feel a little bit little bit more scrubbed in, and they definitely feel less vibey than the EO7 Pluses did, so which is maybe a good thing for all the road riding that I do. But so far they feel pretty good. Anyway, so they did the service, they popped new tyres on, they found too much water in the brake reservoir, so they had to bleed the brakes for me and re-top up the brake fluid. So for all of that, it cost me $990. The reason I chose to do it there, I kind of was thinking about it last night. I almost feel like you have to kiss up to the dealers. Even though A1 never made me feel like that. But I just feel like getting a warranty repair done or chasing up warranty claims is such a difficult thing to do that you've almost got to do it from the stance of having a really good relationship with the dealer to begin with. So anyway, it's cost me $1,000 to get this far that I probably would have rather have spent locally, but at least the work's all done and I don't have to worry about it anymore. So with regards to the fuel sender, they didn't have the part in stock, but they're going to replace that, no worries. So apparently the original one that came in the bike and the one I was replaced with were both from a batch that was faulty. So that was no issue. There was CF Moto were just like, yep, no worries, replace it. We'll get the part out to you, and that's going to take about 4 weeks, I think. Which, if I think back to when I got the first one replaced, was about 3 or 4 weeks wait for the part as well. And that'll be covered under warranty. In terms of the plastics, so getting this big piece of plastic replaced with the 3 broken screw holes in it, they can't help me. So CF Moto said to them that I need to take it back to the dealer that broke it and negotiate the cost of repair with them. Despite the fact that I made it really clear that that dealer is no longer in existence, they've shut up shop. I went past there last weekend and they're closed. They're just gone, which is a good thing in my opinion. The service I got from there was nothing but horrid, and I'm glad that no one else is going to buy a bike from them and have to deal with that. So what A1 Motorcycles suggested to me, which is probably a good idea, is they said that this big piece of plastic isn't very expensive anyway, and that if I really wanted to, I could buy it in myself, and when I'm getting the major service done with the valve clearances, when it's going to be off anyway, that they'd slip it on for me, because I'd already be paying a fair bit for labour anyway, so they could just sort of slip out one plastic for another. So it's a bit of a pain. I feel like motorcycles, I'll name them and shame them now because they're not in business anymore. I feel like they did me dirty there. They did me a really good deal on the top box. They waived the fee for the $150 for the mount for the top box, so that was really nice. So in some ways they did a really great job, and in some ways they didn't. The day that I took it to get it serviced, man, they gave me such a hard time about not having done the over-the-air upgrades. And to be honest, over-the-air upgrades had never, or only once that had ever come up on the app on the phone for me. And I'd done it there and then over Wi-Fi when I had the opportunity, and I'd never been given the opportunity again. So as far as I knew when I took the bike to get serviced, it was completely up to date. But yeah, they whinged and moaned and bitched and complained that I hadn't done it, and had therefore added 2 hours onto the time it would have taken to have done the service if I'd had been. up to date with my over-the-air updates that the CF Moto app was supposed to do. Speaking of this infamous CF Moto app, I just thought I'd weigh in. I think the app's really good, and I think it's a real shame that CF Moto are taking away access to the app or putting it behind a paywall, even though it is a relatively cheap one. But people were never aware that that was going to occur. I just think it's a bit of a dirty move, bit of a dog move. I wish they had have just left it as is, or maybe grandfathered a deal for those who had bought the app, had bought bikes knowing that it came with the app prior to them making this decision that they were going to hide it behind the paywall. Because it's just, yeah, it's not very nice. In itself, it's not such a massive expense, but given the amount of subscription fees that I have to pay for everything else in my life, whether it be, you know, streaming services or even the video editing software that I'm using to edit this video, you can't just buy it outright. You have to subscribe to it, and it costs an absolute fortune, to the point where, like, it costs me money, so much money to make these videos. To add another $4 or $5 Australian to that is just a little bit of insult to injury. Speaking of insult to injury, they've closed down part of the highway to get home today, so I have to take this detour, which is a bit of a frustration. But anyway, that's all I have to whinge about for today. I'm looking forward to trying out these Heidenau tyres. I think these are the ones that come as stock on BMW bikes. They're made in Germany, so they should be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to giving them a whirl and doing a bit of a review on those, and seeing how they compare to the Midas EO7 Plus, which I was so happy with. They're such good tyres, especially they're so chunky, but they perform so well as road tyres. So it'll be interesting to see how these go as well. But so far so good, and yeah, I'll touch base with you guys soon. Thanks for watching.